Is your practice competitive online? See, thousands of searches are being done every day in your area for all kinds of queries for help with people's health and wellness. But will your clinic show up? Is it competitive enough? Or are you barely visible? Welcome to the new era of patient discovery. And as a physical therapy practice owner, you need to understand something critical. The way patients find you has radically changed. It's no longer enough just to be ranked on Google. Patients now search across multiple platforms simultaneously, and your clinic must be optimized to show up and stand out everywhere they are looking. Think about how patients search today. They might tap "near me" on Google Maps, or they may ask Siri or Alexa for the best provider nearby. They may scroll Instagram or browse Facebook looking for health content and solutions for their pain or problem. And more recently, they turn to AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, asking for advice on who to see for their pain, injury, or condition. Now, before I get into the 5 pillars of online discoverability, first we have to ask, what has happened? Why has patient behavior online changed? You see, in the past 2 years, AI chat engines have gone from the stuff of science fiction to a part of our everyday lives. And in November 2022, OpenAI launched ChatGPT. And in just 5 days, it got 1 million users. Then we had Claude, Gemini, Copilot, and Grok, which followed in 2023. And now, I'm sure you know lots of people from teachers to PTs to students who use ChatGPT on a daily basis. You see, this is a seismic change in how we get information, and it's happened in just the past 2 years. You see, in May 2024, Google launched AI Overviews, and that appears at the top of Google search. Now, instead of clicking around the top few links for an answer, patients read the AI summaries at the top of Google. So, if your clinic is not in the AI summary, you could be missing out. And finally, in July of 2025, Google announced that they are now going to index Instagram posts. And that means Instagram posts are now going to show up at the top of Google searches, included in that AI overview at the top. So social search optimization is no longer a luxury for your practice. So these are really specific, big changes. And this is the biggest change in marketing since the dawn of the internet and websites became a thing in the late 1990s. You see, dominating search is a totally different game in 2025. And if your clinic is still focused only on traditional SEO, you're missing out on the majority of patient discovery online. So here's what dominating search looks like for a PT clinic in 2025 and beyond. This is your goal, and I'm going to explain how you'll get there in a minute. But first, online success in 2025 really means that your practice is visible at the top of all Google and Google Maps. It's seen by more people on Instagram, Facebook, and social media. It's recommended by Siri in voice search. You see, your practice can also show up there in AI-driven search engines and ChatGPT results. And your clinic name is the featured answer in the AI overview at the top of Google and ChatGPT. And you know where all your leads are coming from ideally. That is why we created the Practice Search Visibility Blueprint, which includes the 5 pillars of search optimization that physical therapy practice owners need to know in 2025 and beyond. And those are Google local and search optimization, search engine marketing with Google Ads, AI search optimization, answer engine optimization, social search optimization. Those are those 5 pillars. And this is the high-performance framework our team uses to help position over 1,000 clinics all across the US and Canada, across all modern search channels. And I'm going to share it with you here today. So let's dive into this. All right, the first pillar we're going to talk about is Google local and search optimization. This is your foundation and is still the most powerful way for people to find your clinic online. Therefore, your practice must dominate in Google. And the goal is to rank in the top 3 in the Maps section and at the top of the organic section. It's where traditional SEO meets cutting-edge visibility tactics. So first off, you have to ensure your Google business profile is accurate. It has keyword strategies that are aligned with those local patient search behaviors and has technical elements like meta titles, schema markup, and mobile performance that are really dialed in for your practice. So you have to see your Google business profile is arguably one of your most important online advertising platforms as a local business. And you need to show the prospective patients what that experience is going to be like at your practice. And you can do this with professional pictures and selling that experience of what it's like to come to your practice. This also should be backed up with consistent, growing Google reviews. And in addition, working on categories and posting regular content to the Google business profile, this really helps signal to Google that you are a growing and trustworthy business. Then you have to work to get your business connected with other online directories and sites like Waze, Uber, Apple Maps, Bing, Yahoo, your local chamber of commerce, and much more. So how does this help your clinic? Well, your clinic ranks higher for near me searches appearing in that Google's map pack, and it brings in more qualified, interested people that will convert to more new patients. And here are just some of the areas that we focus on to help clinics rank. We work on their Google business profile optimization, local keyword strategies, optimized meta titles and descriptions, schema markup and on-page SEO, website mobile and speed optimization, site security, site maps and robots text files, and of course, mobile responsiveness. Now, it sounds like a lot of technical jargon because it is technical and takes constant work to battle for the top of Google. And since it is technical, that is why you need to have specialists help you fight for those top spots in Google doing all those technical things. So let's take a quick look at how your practice should show up on Google. All right, so let's take a quick look here at how your practice should be coming up here in Google. So if I'm a patient and I'm typing in what's the best physical therapy place near me, and for example, we're gonna pick Easton, Massachusetts here, what we wanna see is how many spots we can have on page 1 of Google. And we've got to realize that in Google, we're going to have ads typically at the top here. We're going to have our local section here, our map section, which is one of the most critical places that you do want to focus on. And then we also have other spots here in the top 10 organic sections on Google. So if I'm a patient looking on here, I'm going to look at first what's going on here in the local section, which practice looks good to me. Do they have enough Google reviews on here? Do they look like they're close enough to me? And then I also kind of skimming down the page here, I'll notice, oh, look, this name is coming up multiple times. They must be the best. So that's why it's so important to have as many spots on page 1 of Google as well as be at the top. So for example, when I click on this clinic here, there's going to pull up their Google business profile. And as we talked about before, we want to make sure they have really awesome pictures in Google business profile here so that it talks the story of what it's like to be at the clinic. It looks personable, it looks professional, it looks like a nice place to go. There's events that go on there. And so this builds my trust instantly with this practice. Then I'm gonna look at reviews. How do their reviews look? Read some of those reviews. And then we have all the other information in here as far as the place to call. If you're a multi-location clinic, you definitely want to have your website and your appointments go to a specific page on your website for that location. Obviously have our times in here, so we look at the convenience of scheduling on there. And then we want to make sure that we can pull in information from our website and from social posts and have all our profiles connected in here, blogs coming in from the website. This builds a very rich and holistic Google business profile, and then we can see all the other results that they're pulling up for in here. So they have a very good and diversified Google business profile, but that's the way that we want our clinics to show up, is multiple times on page 1 of Google, at the top of Google, and especially in the Maps section here. And this is a practice promotions client that's doing fantastic, and we love to see their success. All right, speaking of the very top of Google and the Maps section, the second pillar is search engine marketing, which is Google Ads. And while SEO is critical for long-term growth, search engine marketing with Google Ads allows your clinic to skip the line and appear at the top of search results immediately, especially for those most valuable ready-to-book keywords like physical therapy near me. It also allows you to specifically target areas in your region and community to show up for searches, which is not possible with just SEO alone. Now imagine if you could specify to show up not just for your area, but even surrounding towns. Or if there are more affluent area of your town you want to target, you can specifically have your searches show up in that area to get more, say, cash or high reimbursing patients. That is the power of leveraging search engine marketing. Now, whether a patient is searching for best PT near me, for, let's say, sciatica, or sports injury rehab near me, your clinic will show up at that exact right time with search engine marketing. So with Google Search Engine Marketing, you can have specific strategic campaigns with keyword targeting like sports injury, back pain treatment, or physical therapy near me. You can also use it to have geofencing targeting. You can use it to have lower costs to get a new patient with bid management. And with advanced tracking, you can track how many leads actually become patients. This is how we know exactly how many calls or patients are booked because of the tracking systems that are in place. And that way you can see how many evals actually then came from your Google Ads campaigns, giving you great transparency and able you to dial more things in and get more results. So let's take a look at how Google Ad works.
The top 10% of PT owners aren't just surviving, they're thriving. But what's their secret? Well, Neil Trickett's new Market to Grow book reveals how the top 10% of PT practices leverage marketing systems to simultaneously grow their new patients, attract top talent, and boost profit in their practice. You can learn from their secrets. Visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free copy of Market to Grow. Yes, you heard that right. We are shipping a free copy of Market to Grow to all podcast listeners who want it. Just visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free book. And now back to the show.
Okay, we want to look at why it's so important to use search engine marketing as our second pillar here. And if you're not doing Google Ads, and you should definitely be considering doing that. If you are doing Google Ads, you want to look at, are you trying to do it yourself and wasting a lot of money? So why should we do Google Ads in the first place? Well, Google Ads allows us to be at the very top of Google here, and also in the top of the map section here. So these are reserved for people who are paying to advertise here. And so again, if we're a clinic, we want to show up as many times as possible in the search results for Google. And being at the top of Google here with Google Ads allows you to do that. It also allows you to have a broader range that you can target and be shown up for, whereas in SEO, we might only be able to show up within a certain radius, maybe 2 to 5 miles, depending on how dense it is or how urban the area that you are in. So if we need to target certain zip codes of the city, if we need to target different towns that are around us, if we're a bit more rural, we want to be using Google Ads to be able to target those areas. And then with Google Ads, we also have more tracking and capabilities because we can see how these campaigns are performing and coming through. So if we look at how this client here has performed over the month, we can see that they've generated from their spend on advertising 477 people clicking to call or clicking to their website to learn more. And out of those, 46 people actually became leads, meaning that they requested an appointment either through forms or calls. And so that allows that company to have just $40 basically for a new patient lead coming in the door, which is pretty incredible. And as you're using Google Ads, even though you're spending some money on advertising itself, you're able to get more patients in for less cost per patient. And that's why it's so important to incorporate search engine marketing into your practice. All right, the third pillar is AI search optimization. Now, this is the future. With AI tools like Google SGE and ChatGPT answering health questions directly, we structure your content so these tools can be used to choose your clinic as the first answer. And that means things like clear formatting, featured snippet targeting, optimized frequently asked questions, and a strategy that reflects how patients speak to AI tools. And through the AI searches, you got to realize that they scrape the internet, they scrape websites, and primarily they scrape Google as well as other search engines to compile the most relevant information for their searches and for your prospective patients. Therefore, it still relies heavily on clinics that rank well in Google and are the authority in their space. So again, it comes back to making sure that your practice is ranking really well on Google and is using search engine marketing, and that's going to show up in those AI searches. Here's why it works. It allows you to appear in Google SGE and ChatGPT answers. It helps you establish authority and trust with patients first before your competitors do, and allows you to future-proof your clinic's online discoverability strategy, and ultimately helps you drive high-intent patients from AI search, meaning people who are actively looking for a solution for their pain or problem and how they could actually choose your clinic as the solution to that. So let's take a look at how your clinic should show up in ChatGPT. All right, so let's take a look here at how AI search is changing how patients behave and the way that they're searching for things now. And something that you really need to consider is how well your clinic is pulling up in ChatGPT and other types of AI searches. So let's take a quick look here at ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask them what's the best treatment for knee pain in Armonk, New York. And if I pull up that and ChatGPT does its thing and starts looking, it's going to scrape the internet, it's going to look for things here, and guess what? It's pulling up the clinic that's most relevant in Google as well as other sources and putting those lists first and talking about those treatment options that are available. And again, having multiple options on here of the clinics to go to, ideally yours being the top is where you want to strive for in our new world of AI search. And so this also comes from having a lot of deep condition pages on your website and what we call condition-based marketing, which is where you want to have extensive pages on key conditions that you can help. And these are what AI will scrape and search, and that we want to have lots of conversational type sentences in here which AI will scrape and serve up to people in its answers to people's questions through there. So again, having deep, tailor-made content on your website is critical in conjunction with the way that your website is up on search engine marketing and in SEO results for it to display in ChatGPT. All right, so the fourth pillar is answer engine optimization. And this allows your clinic to become the clinic patients see when they ask questions on Google. So an answer engine is something like ChatGPT that gives a direct conversational response. And basically it gives a single answer rather than a list of just links. And AEO, or Answer Engine Optimization, is the part at the top of Google and search engines where Gemini and AI serve up information about your search. So the goal here is when you win that featured snippet at the top, you win the patient. And AEO helps your content appear directly in search results, including Google's People Also Ask, voice assistants, and chat tools by formatting content to provide clear, relevant answers for those patients searching for help. And this means you have to add into your marketing and your website more conversation and answer style content, primarily on the website and also on your Google Business profile. And so we can help you optimize your content to win those People Also Ask results, voice queries like, "Hey Siri, find physical therapy near me," and other conversational search formats. See, the search is different here because you have to focus on what are called long tail keywords and more of that conversational and informational type marketing, which is different than just the SEO keywords. This means more consistent blogs on your website, more in-depth condition-based marketing pages on your website, which allows AI to scrape this content and show it in a relevant search result to patients. And the schema on your website also needs to be adjusted for these new frequently asked question styles and services. So all of this helps to drive zero-click traffic, voice-based leads, and it helps you build trust and authority in your market because you're everywhere. So let's take a look at how your clinic should show up for this. All right, we're going to talk here about how your practice can show up better in answer engine optimization. And that is the top part of Google now for different queries, depending on what's being searched and the Gemini results that are coming up. So if I paste in here my query for best treatment for knee pain in Armonk, New York, it's going to pull up now this AI search, this answer engine optimization query from all these different searches, and it's going to give me lots of details in here about who I should go to for my knee pain in this particular area. And so it gives me a couple suggestions of different clinics. They're all ours that we work with, and so you can see here it's pulling that data up in there, and there's a lot of information. The person's going to scroll down, they're probably going to click to some of the links in this section before they ever get down to some of the other areas in here. So we want to really come up now in the AI searches for all those people that aren't necessarily thinking about physical therapy first. They may not have even had experience with physical therapy first, but they're certainly looking for how they can help their knee pain in that particular area. And if you're coming up for these searches, you're going to get in front of people that were never ever thinking about physical therapy before. And so some of the key things here is obviously having deep condition pages on knee pain, for example, or shoulder pain, but also having continuous blogs that come up here. Again, this is going to pull relevant information. It shows that to Google that you are relevant, that you are an expert in your area on knee pain, for example, and this is what's going to come up in searches. So having condition and content around blogs, condition pages on your website is really critical to how well you're going to pull up in these answer engine optimization searches. All right, the fifth and final pillar is social search optimization. And this is where you can turn Instagram and Facebook into discovery engines. And more than ever, people are using platforms like Instagram and Facebook to search for local businesses and health information. And they'll also check you out when they find you on a Google search. They'll go check your Facebook and Instagram out. Plus, in July of 2025, Google announced that it's actually now indexing Instagram posts, which means Instagram is now going to show up in Google searches for, back pain or knee pain treatments or physical therapy. So social search optimization makes sure your clinic shows up in those searches with posts, profiles, and videos built to be found. Patients look for health providers on Instagram and Facebook every day. So how can you stand out in this crowd? And you can build visibility on social media using profile optimization with correct links to key parts of your website, and also building your online profiles there. Then you can use hashtag strategies for both condition and location-based posts. You can work with your videos and make sure that you have video search optimization. And then when you're putting posts up there, you want to make sure that your posts have post optimization for SEO boosted topics, and that your social and Google keywords are in alignment, making sure how you advertise on Google aligns with your social media optimization. So if you're doing it right, your social media followers can actually be driven more to your website and become website visitors. So here's why it works. It allows you to convert more followers into website visitors and patients. It allows you to increase visibility on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and even Google Business Profile. It allows you to boost content discoverability and your practice's brand awareness. It turns social content into a lead source, and much more. So let's just take a look at how social search optimization can work for your clinic. So let's look at how your practice should be pulling up for social search optimization, and realizing that your social profiles will not only show up for people who are looking around on Facebook and Instagram, but this will also pull up in search results in Google, believe it or not. So we want to make sure that we have very good profiles set up here, shows the professionalism of our practice, has all the critical details and links in here that are built out and connect to the right places. And then in our posts, that we're making our posts very relevant, capturing a lot of what's happening within the clinic, and using a lot within our posts for the right kind of links, and also the hashtags that work towards broader searches that are being done, maybe for physical therapy, rotator cuff recovery, the area that they would be in, shoulder pain, manual therapy, lots of different hashtags and searches that can be done. And then also having the ability to look very professional, using graphic design work to stand out in both your pictures and your videos that you're doing to portray your clinic. And so this clinic's done amazing in how they're really incorporating a lot into their social media marketing. Our team's helping them with the professionals of this and making sure they have the social search optimization happening in place and having an increase in followers, and especially the views and interactions that are going on in the post are key. Google actually looks at how people are interacting in your posts and the engagement and the views on those, and it will provide a greater search result for you in Google searches and search results, and that translates to AI search. And so this is why we have to have a very seamless search capabilities from Google through AI search and also through social search optimization. Great. So together, these 5 pillars ensure your clinic isn't just found online, it's chosen. If you take one thing away from this training, let it be this. Search isn't happening on Google alone. It's happening across Google, Maps, Instagram, Facebook, and AI platforms. And so if your practice is not present in each of these places, you're invisible to the majority of patients actively looking for help. And this is why the Practice Search Visibility Blueprint is essential for modern clinics. It's how the top 10% of practices are outpacing their competition. It's how they're filling schedules, hiring more staff, and opening new locations, growing their practice. And the best part, you don't have to do this alone. At Practice Promotions, our specialists implement this blueprint for you, and we bring together the tech, the strategy, and the execution so you can focus on running your clinics. And while you take care of patients, we make sure those patients can find you. So if you want to dominate online search in 2025, then go ahead and schedule a one-on-one strategy call with our marketing consultants, which you can easily do at practicepromotions.net. Or if you just like to collaborate first, sign up for my monthly Ultimate PT Marketing Workshop Zoom series. And in these workshops, basically informational sessions where you can interact with me directly on your marketing or your marketing topics, and you can find the link in the description. So thanks for listening. This is Neil Trickett from Practice Promotions. And just by getting to the end of this, you're already ahead of most PTs and many business owners in terms of understanding AI and search visibility.
A free way for you to support our show is by leaving a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It's a chance for you to tell us what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it as well. Just scroll down to ratings and review on your phone and click write a review. Thanks.